Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started, everyone. Hello, my name is Brooke Dickhart. I am the Executive Director of the Joel Fund. We are a local veteran-serving nonprofit out of Wake Forest, North Carolina. And we are one of the groups that organize and run the VMFA meetings. And I want to first thank everyone for joining us virtually today. My whole family has been sick with this junk that's been going around, and just as contagious as it has been, I decided to be safe. And then, of course, I woke up this morning and now I'm starting to feel it. So it's a good thing we switched to virtual. So I appreciate the flexibility. And thank goodness we have this ability, right? So what I always like to do at the beginning of these meetings is to start off by talking about what the VMFA is. And we are a local community veterans engagement board. So we are VA connected, but we are community led. And our mission is to strengthen the local veteran and military community. And we have a few objectives, and our objectives are to identify gaps, opportunities, and barriers in service to improve service for veterans and military families. We work to coordinate information on services for veterans and military families. And we try to educate veterans, military families, and community advocates on community-based efforts and suicide prevention. This month, we are talking about veteran education, and I'm really excited about this topic this month because in the past, we tend to focus on our, secondary institutions, our four-year colleges, our community colleges, and that sort of thing. And Katie on our team made a comment one day. She said, Brooke, a lot of times veterans will join the military because college isn't the right path for them. She said, maybe we should focus on some of the trades and let's teach our community partners about how our veterans can, get into the trade industry. So that is our focus this month for veteran education. And we have 4 great speakers to talk to us. But before we jump into our panel discussion, I'd like to go through the Zoom call and have everyone introduce themselves and also to let us know your connection to the military. One thing I did not mention, my dad was in the Navy and he served 20 years as a Navy SEAL and passed away in 2014 after a long battle with PTSD. So everything that we do is in his honor. So that is my personal connection to the military. So I'm going to pass it off to Moses. Oh, you're muted.
I just realized I was muted. Hi. I guess I got first dibs because I got on quicker. My name is Moses Gloria. I'm with the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs with the Raleigh Vet Center. I'm the Veteran Outreach Program Specialist or the Program Coordinator here at the Vet Center. I've been with the Raleigh Vet Center since 2007, since I medically retired out in 2006. It's good always being on here. I wish I was there in person, but Brooke, I'm sorry that your family's sick.
Thank you. Right. Next month, we will be in person.
Yes.
Thanks, Moses. Sam and Brenda.
Slow computer, sorry. Sam and Brenda Brubaker. Sam was a Navy corpsman from 71 to 75. He's sitting across the room. And I was in the Navy Nurse Corps from 71 to 76. We represent Vietnam Veterans of America and also Triangle Women Veterans and a whole bunch of other things, veteran advocacy.
Thanks, Brenda. Andy?
Hey, I'm Andy Zinkovich, United States Army veteran, former state adjutant for North Carolina VFW, and currently work for Humana, as you can see right up there. My main role is to educate veterans on how Medicare works alongside our veteran benefits. So we have a lot of veteran service officers who help us navigate VA. Once our veterans turn 65, we hit them with another federal healthcare system with really no knowledge on how to navigate that. So that's my role, travel around, just make sure that our veterans and our family members are educated on how all of that works together once Medicare becomes a part of your life.
Thank you. Paul?
Yeah, thanks, Brooke. Sorry I'm not on camera, everyone. I'm sitting in a coffee shop in Wake Forest. I love it here. Paul Berry, 30-year Marine Corps veteran. I work with the NC Serves that many of you have known about for many years. So we're a coordinated care network, and we work closely with great partners like Brooke and everyone on this call. And if you could, I don't want to change the tone of the call, but we recently lost 5 Marines in a helicopter crash. So please keep the Marine Corps and those families in mind, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Robert?
Hey y'all, Robert Elliot, Veterans Farm of North Carolina, Marine Corps veteran, and we specialize in assisting veterans in learning agricultural trade, starting a farm of their own, and run them through a 3 and a 6 month program here just outside of Fort Liberty. And yeah, as well as manage the North Carolina Farmer Veteran Network.
Awesome. Thank you. Chuck?
Hey everyone, my name is Chuck Wellman. I'm with Wolfspeed, right down there in Durham, North Carolina. However, I am actually in New York, and my co-part, Christina Piard, is the representative down there in North Carolina. I'm a 22-year Air Force veteran, worked fighter jets for a very long time, and now I'm an upskilling relationship manager for community colleges and military here with Wolfspeed in New York. So instrumental in just trying to make sure that we provide opportunities to veterans to come work in our company and see how good it is, and make sure they have the training support they have to be successful in the semiconductor world. So glad to be here, though.
Thanks, Chuck. Bill?
Bill Dixon, U.S. Army, Vietnam 67, 68, and a proud graduate of WW Holding.
Thank you. Good to see you, Bill. Yesenia?
Hi, everyone. I work for a nonprofit, a national nonprofit, Hire Heroes USA. We focus mainly on career services, finding jobs for veterans, resume writing. We do are connected to training and education. So if any veterans are looking to do any education or referrals, we do have a program that does that. My specialty is in federal employment, and I am a 24-year Marine Corps veteran.
Thank you. Jared?
Hey everybody, my name is Jared and I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I served with 210 and 36 as a forward observer calling in artillery and airstrikes. I currently work as an outreach specialist for Hopeway, their mental and behavioral health facility, and I focus on the veterans and first responders side. I have a background as a volunteer firefighter as well. We actually just opened up a new IOP program specifically for veterans and first responders, so everybody in the area has access to mental health support 3 days a week. Really awesome program, but excited to be here.
Thank you. Ashley?
Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley Wheeler. I am the Veteran Student Success Coach over at Wake Tech. And for me, my military connection is through family. I think we've had people from almost every branch serve, so I'm very, very proud of them.
Thank you. 2 ladies from Veterans Upward Bound.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
My name is Davina Blair, and I'm a military spouse. Just moved to the area recently, and Jessica here, she's new to the program as well. And we're here to help motivate and assist veterans who are wanting to pursue post-secondary education.
I'm an Army veteran as well, and my husband is still active duty. So that is our military connection.
Fantastic. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Dietrich?
Good morning. I work for California Employment Development Department as a disabled veteran outreach program specialist. I learned about the Joel Fund from a California immigrant from North Carolina, from Wake Forest, Shelton Fairclough. My connection is retired Marine Corps with a son who's retired Navy SEAL.
Nice. Thank you. Oh, Dietrich, I think we lost you. Were you still? Oh, there you go. Were you done?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you. Kat?
Hey there, everybody. My name's Kat. I'm from Hope Renovations. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We are located in Chapel Hill with a workshop in Carborough, but we are also beginning to offer our trades training program to women out of Wake Tech and Durham Tech also in the coming months. So we have a dual purpose with empowering and training women to enter trades careers. And the second half of our work is doing the hands-on work, the renovations in the homes of folks to help them age in place on a sliding scale. So we're doing both of those things. We're not specifically working only with veterans, but definitely looking to and excited about the possibility of welcoming veterans into our program that are interested in our trades training, and of course the renovations for aging in place also.
Thank you. Nick?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Nick Drake. I'm the Director of Military and Veteran Services here at NC State University. Army vet, so I'm year 18. So I was enlisted for 10 years, got out, and then have been in the Guard for just over 8. So retiring here in 2026.
Thank you. Alexa?
Hey everyone, my name is Alexa McCann. I am with Holly Hill Hospital. So we are a primary mental health psychiatric facility here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I am the point of contact for Holly Hill for Wake, Durham, and Orange counties.
Thanks for joining us. Anne?
Good afternoon, Ann Gasparini. I'm a former spouse, 27 years Marine Corps, mom of a Marine, and I also was a family readiness officer for the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit Command Element for 6 years. So a little bit of an affiliation there with the Marine Corps. And definitely, I work for Stop Soldier Suicide, and our mission is in our title, and I'm excited to be here. Thanks.
Thank you. Matt?
Hey there, y'all. Matt DeVivo, Reserve Component Transition Assistance Advisor. I focus on mostly the current serving reservists, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and the National Guard of North Carolina, 32-year Army vet. And I'm excited to learn more about the trade and certification process. Thanks.
Thank you. Janaea? Oh, okay. I see it in the chat. Guidance Counselor, National Guard Education Services. Thank you. And then one more, VHA. Last person to introduce themselves. It says Comba P. I'm not sure who that is.
It's my boss.
Oh,
He just hopped on.
Okay. Do you want to introduce him, Moses?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
He can introduce himself, but he's basically my new director.
Oh, thanks a lot, Moses. All right. Hi, sorry, some technical difficulties in putting fires out, but you know, 'tis the life of a director of the Vet Center. I'm the Raleigh Vet Center director. I just got here in Raleigh in this past December, actually. We serve combat veterans, veterans dealing with MST, veterans who are actively enrolled in their post 9/11 GI Bill or just GI Bill in general, and a reserve and National Guard components as well.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. As I stated, wait, let me just make sure, did I miss anyone before I continue? Okay, so our 4 panel speakers today, Ashley, Chuck, Robert, and Kat. If there's anyone else who would like to jump in, Nick, if there's something from NC State that you want to add to the conversation, please do so. This is an open conversation. Anyone else jump in. But I want to start with, if you don't mind, I'll call you each individually, but talk a little bit about your role within your organization, and what your organization does and how it can work with veterans or their family members. Robert, we'll go first. Specifically with the trade that you teach or certify in.
So there's not a lot of real dynamic programming out there for entry-level agricultural production models for veterans. So, I've developed programs over the past 10 years to help with veterans learning how to involve themselves in agriculture. And the newest endeavor that we've taken on is this 501c3 with the Veterans Farm that I created. And we're on 53 acres outside of Fort Liberty, where we maintain beef cattle, sheep, hogs, and poultry, as well as horticulture, both in landscape ornamental and vegetable production, fruit tree production, all of that kind of stuff. But we run two programs, the 3-month program called Military Agricultural Program, that's specific for transitioning military out of Fort Liberty. And we also run the 6-month intensive, which is the Veterans Ag Training and Education Program called VATEP for short. But basically, both of those courses get a curriculum and exposure into the various ag production models that you can get into. And when they come in, what we figured out over the years is that veterans don't know what they don't know about farming, and farming is extremely hard to pull off. Statistics behind it show 95% of all startup farms collapse in the first 5 years. 96% of all farms in the U.S. have a spouse that's working off farm to subsidize the ag entity itself. So we run them through a variety of entry-level stuff that they can get into so they can get their hands dirty on it and look at the actual business models behind each one. Over the years, we've seen tremendous amounts of vets that kind of flocked into agriculture, but being they don't know what they don't know, they go for the furry and the fluffy and all that kind of good stuff as their direction into agriculture. But those are some of the hardest things to pull off as a beginning farmer. Whereas doing something like plants, landscape ornamental plants, doing vegetables, hydroponics, aquaponics, aeroponics, stuff like that, tends to work a lot better because of consistency, market demand, and so forth. So we kind of break down each one of these entry level production models for each of the veterans coming through. And they come in wanting to do something that they think that is really exciting for them. And by the time they're done, they have changed direction completely. So we run them through the curriculum. We give them a bunch of tours of various farms. Then they go through a project portion of their own choosing after they've gained exposure and decided what direction they want to go. And we work with them to develop that here on the farm so that they can see whether or not they are making mistakes here instead of losing money trying to develop that on their own operation after they get out. And towards the end, we have them put together a basic business plan, sit down in front of potential lenders that can help them get where they want to go, and kind of dissect that business plan and see, what's weak and what's good and what they need to fix. And as a result of this, that's our official mission, but the unofficial mission is reducing suicide in the military community. And we've done that pretty well with this program. Since launching this about 2 years ago, we've had 6 of our participants that have come forward and said if it weren't for the farm and it weren't for the program that we've put in place, they would not be here right now. We look at the suicide prevention aspect of this thing through the eyes of experience, basically. And I've had 6 of my Marines that have committed suicide since we got out. So, looking at the triggers and the mechanisms behind everything that causes a suicide event really helped us to kind of shape how our programming actually works, where we have a licensed medical family therapist that comes out and talks about agriculture. She's comes from a family of farmers and veterans and stuff like that. And a lot of the downfalls of a beginning farmer operation happen because of lack of communication with the spouse or anybody that is involved in agricultural operations. So we work pretty heavy on that. We bring in folks and partners that help with benefits. We help with learning how do you actually turn this into a viable career opportunity and turn a farm into making money instead of just throwing money away while you're trying to chase one animal after the other and figure it out as you go. And then we have the network, and we have just started a peer support network for veterans involved in agriculture, where we have peer support coordinators that are going out and checking on our farmers after they've gotten out of our program and coming back to us with, how are they doing? What are they needing? How can we help further? And we tie in that entire network so that folks have other people to talk to since they're getting out of the military and they've got a new unit to kind of check into with similar interests. So we've got, a Vietnam vet up in Byrne who has been producing sheep for the past 50 years, off and on with his family. And he is now a mentor for incoming livestock producers. We call him the Godfather, but it works on that level, and it's all been kind of grassroots in nature. So it's turned out pretty neat. North Carolina seems to be the only state in the U.S. that really has what we've kind of built between the network, the equipment programs where we rent out equipment to veterans that need it, and the training programs that are here now in the state. No other state really has what we've got, and we've become extremely unique and kind of leading the charge for veterans in ag as a whole. So I work with partners around the U.S., and Veterans Farm is starting to grow in ways that I never even thought we were. But yeah, it's been an extremely popular program with what we've built. We are getting tremendous amounts of interest from community partners, and everything is doing really well in terms of the work that we're actually accomplishing with vets. Just a side note, we probably train on average about 60 veterans out here a year, and a lot of them set up their own farms here in North Carolina and rely upon the network that's already been built. So it's just continuing to grow, and now we're starting to see a lot of new marketing opportunities that we're trying to put together and help the community put together. So a beginning farmer coming into the space, once they start producing a product, they've got instant marketability and able to start hitting the ground running kind of. So it's exciting to see where it's come from to where it is now, and it's even more exciting to see where it's going from here. So
thank you. And Yesenia, I will come back to that question because I'm going to put that out there to everyone, a similar question. Chuck, if you have a minute, would you please talk to us about the program that Wolfspeed is implementing for veterans to get into this semiconductor industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Some small technical difficulties as my computer doesn't want to come off video or mute. Well, thank you for having me. As I noted on my training, so obviously this is very near and dear to my heart, is taking care of my brethren and helping them any way they can, getting into what we do. But can I share my screen real quick, or would you like me just to talk? Or
yeah, if you just want to talk for a minute, if you have any flyers or handouts, we can send those out in our follow-up email afterwards.
Okay, perfect. So obviously Wolfspeed is really leading the transition from silicon to silicon carbide. We're kind of holding the market share and making that happen. Traditional chip fabrication is done on silicon, and for about 35 years we've been developing and perfecting silicon carbide, which is, in a lot of ways far better and far superior than silicon. So that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. So North Carolina State is where our founders came from, right down there in Durham, North Carolina is our headquarters. Around 4,500 employees nationwide. Again, as I said earlier, I'm the relationship manager for community community colleges and military. And one of the big programs that we work with is a program called VetStep. VetStep is a skill bridge program for transitioning military members who are within the last 6 to 12 months of their active duty term. So they apply for skill bridge, and what VetStep does is a program that's held up here at University of Albany now. It used to be SUNY Poly and transferred over. It's held at the CNSC, which is the Center for Nanoscience and I can't even remember what the acronym stands for, but it's been one of those days. And they get semiconductor experience. What we do in this class, or what they do in this class, it's trained by community college instructors. And they get training in advanced manufacturing practices, pneumatics technology, basic electronics and PLCs, vacuum technology, really a lot of mechatronics, diagnostic and troubleshooting. So they work on a component system. It's made up of about 7 different individual units that they fix, troubleshoot, repair, run all the intricacies of, all of the aforementioned items, and then they learn how to troubleshoot it individually, and then they put it all together. It all connects together, and it's an assembly line goes all the way from the beginning to the end, and they literally kind of put it back together and make it work and keep it going. Really the semiconductor world. After that 2 weeks of training that they get through the program, we then provide an 8-week internship for those folks. So they come work for us, still on active duty. We give them housing as part of the skill bridge requirements. And they intern with one of our groups here at Wolfspeed. We try to move them around and give them a little bit of breadth of experience in many different areas. And at the end of that, obviously, the hope is that we provide them a job at Wolfspeed working as an equipment technician in one of our fabs or our factory down in Siler City. So the main 3 locations that we normally place applicants for their internship and hopefully hiring is up here in Marcy, New York, down there in Durham, North Carolina, obviously where you all are at. And then now we're going to be moving into Siler City as well. So a lot of growth in that area in use of those veterans. I have about 100% hire rate out of the veterans that have come to work with us out of this program. And we've even had a couple of veterans where their command had a program package because obviously the mission comes first. And we've worked with them, stayed in touch with them. So after they actually get off active duty, we try to provide them an opportunity to come work with us and do an internship of some sort so they don't miss out on an opportunity to be employed at Wolfspeed or have that experience that they would have had if they went through the program. So it's kind of in a nutshell what we do with VetStep. We're also looking to become our own skill bridge provider as we expand our growth, and just a lot of things we're trying to do to just increase our veteran population here at Wolfspeed and also have the ability to support them in their transition from active duty to civilian careers. So that's what we're doing.
Thank you. And Chuck, just a little bit at the beginning, your audio was going a little in and out, but I want to confirm it cleared up near the once you got going. But is all this information on these slides that you have?
Yeah, I have a slide specifically about what we do with VetStep. So I can send you that slide, and I can also send you a link to the New York Creates VetStep page where you can route veterans to apply for skill bridge through that program.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Ashley, would you go next, please? Talk a little bit about some of the programs that you offer at Wake Tech for trades and certificate programming, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So I am a student success coach at Wake Tech. So just to kind of give a little clarification, essentially what me and my team do is we work with any student. I specifically work with the veterans that come in and have any kinds of challenges. It could be anything from food or housing insecurities to potentially needing to speak with a counselor. Maybe they just don't know who to go to for tutoring or for academic advising. We're kind of their first point of contact. So we're there for them and we support them. We have the food pantry, transportation services, whatnot. So we're just here to make sure that they get through their educational journey with as little challenges as possible. When it comes to the trades, there's kind of 2 separate sides to that coin at Wake Tech. We do have our curriculum programs. When you think of curriculum, you think of your business, your education, things like that normally, but we also do have things like automotive, which is one of the other groups that I work with transportation, heavy equipment. We have our construction management, things of that nature. And specifically, I bring up these programs because what our students typically do is that they will be in class for 2 days a week. And then the rest of the week, they are actually working in this field. So they are kind of doing this dual. So they're earning an income, a full-time income. With our automotive, for example, they could be working at a dealership at the same time. And a lot of times these dealerships or these John Deere or whoever, whichever program it is sponsoring these students to come to school. So they are getting funding. Again, not specifically veteran specific, but we actually do have a lot of veterans that go through that automotive program, as well as our heavy equipment. On the flip side of it, of our workforce continuing education programs, these are programs that are not necessarily your quote unquote getting a degree, but it could be anything from our police and fire academies. Or EMS as well. We've got things such as code inspection, forklift operator, electrical wiring, and then we've got a few fun ones that we just got the new drone pilot training program. We have motorcycle training, freight broker, things of that nature, or they could even look into something if they wanted something maybe in an office. We have hospitality and tourism. We have real estate licensing. So we have a lot of opportunities for students that may not want your traditional classroom setting. And when it does come to the veterans, all of them are attached to me. And again, we do provide them with those resources to make sure they are successful in their courses. But again, we do understand that some of them don't necessarily want to sit in a classroom for 5 days a week. They want to get in there and get their hands dirty. And we try to provide them as varied opportunities as possible.
Thank you. Kat, will you please talk to us about Hope Renovations and kind of what the programming looks like? And I know you work with women, with all women, but I love this, what you guys do, because what we see working with veterans is that the programming for our female veterans looks a little different than it does for the men. And so to find something that is female focused, I want you to share this with the group, because I'm excited, especially since I know you're getting ready to start up more in Wake County.
Yeah, we are. We're expanding right now, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm actually pretty new to Hope. I've been working here for 3 weeks. And before joining Hope, I went through the trades training program at Hope Renovations. So I took part in the program in the fall of 2023, finished the program in November, started working here in January. So I'm currently a trainee success specialist. I'm working with folks that are coming into the program from a wide variety of backgrounds, but we do the most outreach trying to bring women into the program who are either unemployed or underemployed, and bringing them into our program. That I think one of the reasons it's unique is because it's a paid training program. So during the first 5 weeks of the 9-week program, while you're in sort of a classroom setting with our instructor who is a veteran, you are being paid a weekly stipend to do this training, which includes OSHA 10 construction safety. It includes pre-apprenticeship course certification through NCCER, which is the National Center for Construction Education and Research. You're getting 5 weeks of sort of intensive classroom-based training and hands-on training before the final 4 weeks of the program, where you're doing on-the-job training, on-the-job learning with our professional construction crew. And those last 4 weeks are as an employee, being paid $15 an hour. So it really is a unique program. And we have we're fairly new. We've been Hope Renovations has been around for about 3 years, and we have been working primarily in Orange County, but right now we are in the process of expanding so that we can provide the same training experience in Wake County and Durham County. Next month, we're starting our first Wake County cohort out of Wake Tech, the Beltline campus. And so that will be starting at the end of March. 1 month after that, we're starting our first cohort out of Durham Tech. So we're going to be operating out of 3 locations instead of just 1. But really with the focus of, not just bringing women into the program to learn these trade skills, but also serving the needs of doing this renovation work on folks to help folks to age in place, or not just the older members of our community, but also folks with disabilities. This could a day on the job working in OJL, the on the job learning can be demoing and rebuilding porches. It can be building ramps to make homes wheelchair accessible, pulling out flooring, pulling out tubs and installing showers to make bathrooms more accessible. So this is work in the trades where we know there is often a shortage of folks to do the work. So we're trying to bring folks into the industry where there is a real need for the work and where there is certainly plenty of room for women to be more represented in the career field, in the force.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
Now this next question is a little more specific for Robert and Chuck. Both of you mentioned transitioning service members, but will you work with veterans even if they're not transitioning right out of the military?
Yes, we'll definitely work with veterans, for Wolfspeed. I mean, either way, just the Vet Step is one program we have that helps them in those transitioning months. So,
Okay, thank you.
military spouses too, can't forget them.
Great, that's awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask about family members too. Robert, are you available there we go.
Yes, ma'am. So we work with veterans, transition and service members and their families. And farming is a family sport, so we try to always get them to involve the family aspect when they're out here and have the family come out.
Okay, thank you. That's great. And how do Kat, I'll start with you. How do people access the programs? How, like, if we have someone we're working with and we want to refer them, what's the best way to get them into one of your programs?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, first of all, for anyone here, you can always reach out to me. My email it's very simple. It's just CAT at hoperenovations.org. And I can type that in the chat also. If you visit our website, hoperenovations.org, there is quite a bit of information on the trades training program. The first step for anyone, whether folks are being referred to us through a partnership, another program, or folks find us on their own, everyone who's interested in the program simply needs to attend an info session. And we have info sessions, 2 of them coming up in 2 weeks. I can include information here or in that follow-up email, but in order to apply for the program, you first have to attend an info session. It's on Zoom. It's an hour long or less. And once you've attended an info session, gotten the background information to see if it's something you want to pursue, we have an easy online application. And after that, you would do an online or a Zoom interview with myself or another trainee success specialist here. It's a pretty straightforward process to get into one of the cohorts. And this is a good year to just be learning about Hope, because we're launching more cohorts than we ever have before, and in 3 locations, which is just making us more accessible to more people throughout North Carolina that were too far away before.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Robert, Chuck, what's the easiest way for veterans to reach you all? Ashley, I know I know the answer to yours, but I'll still I'll come back to you in just a second. But Robert and Chuck, what's the easiest way for us to direct people to your programs?
The easiest way is just to go through vfnc.org. I also put all of my contact information in the chat. But yeah, vfnc.org is easiest way, and any of the messages coming from that website come directly to me. So
is there an interview process? Is there just an application? What kind of the process do they go through?
it depends. If they're a veteran or spouse, usually we just require some kind of proof that they are a veteran or spouse. But for active duty or transition and service members, there's SkillBridge paperwork that has to be done, or unit approval for them to detach and come take the course. So it all depends on what they are, but we try to serve primarily North Carolina residents that are going to be staying here. This year has been extremely crazy because I think a lot of the world events have had a lot of veterans kind of flocking towards homesteading skills and other types of skills that are along that nature. And all of our classes are just about full through 2024. And I know other programs that are similar in nature to ours are experiencing the same uptick in folks wanting to learn how to grow food. So we're having to kind of screen a little bit to make sure that they're ready to take on that. And being we're funded through U.S. Department of Agriculture for the military ag program, we're trying to find the best suited candidates that are going to become beginning farmers and ranchers. So there is a little bit of an application process, but we try to work with anybody that wants to genuinely learn agricultural production skills.
Okay. Chuck, is best just to direct people to the website, to that link you sent? What would you recommend?
Yeah, for transitioning members that are interested in SkillBridge, definitely going to the link that I sent there. I'll also post a link to our careers website for members that have maybe already got out or military spouses. They can go to there and then apply for the position and, obviously indicate military on there. Or I can provide my email as well as and also Christina's, so they can reach out to us directly and let us know, hey, I applied, I'm a veteran. You can send us our resume. We'll be happy to look at it and maybe connect them with a recruiter that we know maybe looking for their particular skill set. So always available to also help with skills translation of how it relates to semiconductors and what we do. So any way we can be of help.
Great. Ashley, so if someone is looking to get into something, but maybe they're not a registered student yet, we can direct them to you, or is it better if they're already a registered student at Wake Tech?
I tell you, one of the best ways for people to come is actually I always recommend coming for a visit. Come and take a tour. And we actually just launched our brand new virtual tour option. So you can do it virtually for students that may not even be in Wake County. So you can come and take a look around campus. But I always recommend doing that first because we do have, like I talked about earlier, we have the continuing education and the curriculum programs. Those do run a little bit differently when it comes to admissions. So it's always really good to come to campus and let us help you figure out, which path is going to be best for you, and let us get you with the appropriate team to line that up. Again, this can be done virtually in a post-COVID world. We have that capability, but I'm obviously of the opinion, let's show you. Let's let you see the automotive department. Let's let you see where we teach you how to fly drones, things like that. It gives you a little bit more perspective and can maybe even help you narrow down specifically what you want to do. When it comes to us, though, I think the biggest piece of advice, if you're talking to someone that's interested in going to school, is to make sure that they know when they do an application to actually indicate that they are a veteran, because that's probably our biggest challenge, is that these students come in and they don't actually tell us that they're veterans, and they lose out on using their benefits or not getting to utilize all the other resources that we have for veterans. And sometimes we'll find out in their third semester because they submitted their JSTs and we're like, you were a veteran, why didn't you tell us? So I think that's probably our biggest fight, is just getting them to let us know. So if you do ever talk to someone, tell them, do not be afraid to say that to us, that you are a veteran.
Thank you. And one thing that I'll point out that I like about all of these things from our panel speakers today is that each organization or company still has a support group for veterans. So I know Wolfspeed has an employee resource group, you know, and I shouldn't say specifically for veterans with Hope Renovations, but it is a group of women. And I think that no matter where you go, what we see on our end with how we serve the veteran community, finding a group, and I know Robert alluded to it with the groups that, you know, what the response that we're get, how their farming has helped the veterans. I think that's so important with all of these, because when I was doing my research, like I talked to one plumbing company and, you know, trying to learn how someone could become, you know, start working in the plumbing industry. And he said, you know, they can just come and work for us and we will train them on the job. But there isn't that same support. You know, and that was something that I wanted to, and not to take away from that, but as, you know, when we're working with these men and women, I like to be able to give them direction to something where I know they're going to have that support. And so I just like to point that out, because I do think it's very important that that is also built in there to some level. Now we have time for one more question, and I always like to save this one for the end. And that question is, what gaps or struggles can you identify that we can work together to minimize? So I'm going to throw that to Robert first. How can this group help you to reduce any gaps or struggles in the work that you do?
Oh boy. Well, you know, it's been a minute since I've been around a lot of these folks that are in here. And Nick, Moses, it's good to see y'all again, man. I know we used to catch up at governors working groups back in the day. But anyway, basically, if you've got veterans that are interested in agriculture, feel free to send them our way. What we're trying to do is build a community and not just a nonprofit training program, you know. Or if there's veterans that can benefit from what we've got to offer, and or just even mentorship, we're happy to do it. As far as everybody else, you know, anybody in the 501c3 space is fighting the same battles. We need funding and more staff, so there's always that. But you know, working with folks and having critical partnerships in place really helps. Like Agri-Medicine Institute and Blue Cross and Blue Shield is now an official partner of ours. We are working pretty well with Fisher House as well, and you know, looking at some other folks. The agricultural community has stepped up majorly too, between Tartar Equipment and Purina Feed that sponsors all the feed for the animals out here for the training. But if you're involved in other states and you're looking at having an agricultural component, we can also help with that, because Vet Farm looks like it's about to start going into other states in the near future.
Nice. Chuck, how about you?
That's a good question. Honestly, but I think the biggest thing is support, right? Just keep, you know, if you hear a veteran who maybe came from a technical field and maybe they're kind of wondering where they want to go, what do I do? How do I do this? You know, I was a bomb loader and worked on weapon systems on fighter jets for 22 years. And I thought I was only going to load luggage on, you know, airliners when I got out, and somebody kind of helped me find my way. You know, a lot of them just don't know where to go with skill sets that are highly valuable in our workforce. And, you know, they may come asking, you know, what do you think? And you know, Wolfspeed is by all means ready to help them out and provide on-the-job training. So support and just encouraging them to keep looking and send them our way, I think, is probably the biggest thing you can do. And by all means, you know, shoot us an email. We'll help you if you need it. So that's about it. But such a great experience to be here with all these vets. And, you know, I knew I was in the right place when I heard the cran jokes at the beginning. So
It was actually pretty tame this time. Normally when we do the meetings hybrid and some of us are in person, it gets a little crazy with the jokes.
feel a little out of place being the only Share Force guy here, not gonna lie, but it's all good.
Awesome. And Kat, how about you? What gaps or struggles can you identify that we can help fill?
Sure. So, you know, folks who come into our program frequently have there are gaps and unmet needs that we look to support, and we try to help with some of that simply by being able to offer a stipend or offer being able to pay trainees as they go through the program. In terms of, there are a variety of other needs that we tried to help trainees, whether they have difficulties with transportation or food or childcare. So there's really a never-ending list of needs and gaps that we're trying to fill and trying to work with other community partners to fill for our trainees. And I think between our organizations, maybe there is some overlap with that, but a huge one, unrelated to those, there is just that need that you folks are already talking about, with just the support of having a group, an organization, a community to go through a training program with. And that has to be the biggest thing that trainees get out of this program, that I got out of it. The confidence that's being built, and just the support, not just through the organization, but the support that comes from other trainees going through a program like this together. So for me, that was the biggest benefit of the program. And, on a very practical way, Hope has been able to develop really amazing relationships with employers in the area in its few years of existence. So, there are pathways in place. There are incredible networking opportunities while you're in the program to meet the types of employers that you'd want to work for, to sort of help you navigate that process as a woman in construction or going into electrical or plumbing, finding employers that are the types of employers you would want to work for. So there's that also, but definitely that support aspect of it, that being in a program like this can offer to hopefully veterans as well. Anyone that you would want to send our way, if we're able to provide that type of support, that type of learning environment that maybe is what folks are looking for in a program, then I think it's just as much of what can I or what can we do for you all, just by being a partner in all of this. I'm just happy to be here and see how any of us can work together.
Thank you. Yeah. Ashley, what would you like to add? I know you hear this question each time, so.
Yeah, I think for us, really, from, a couple of things. One, from this group is just a continued, letting people know that if they do want to come to school, it is not what they see in the movies, and they have to go to class all these times. They have to have books and all the stuff. The look of higher education has changed significantly, even since I was in school X amount of years ago. We won't date ourselves on that answer, but there is so many paths when it comes to moving forward, and whatever it is, whether it is a traditional, going to a 4-year program, which again, we are so lucky here at Wake Tech that we've got great partnerships. Next on the Call, for example, we work with NC State to get our students there. But then there's the other routes. There's working with, CAT, for example, is going to be at our Beltline campus. So we're providing those programs. So there definitely is, there is opportunities to let students know, and anyone that wants to come to school, that it's not just a traditional route, that it really is out there in a variety of different ways. And again, kind of to mirror what Kat said, just having the support of this team and cross collaboration. I know, Jessica, you just wrote me that you're going to be on our campus, and actually, if I open my door, you will see your office. So, we're literally in the same hallway. So it's really this helps me. I know when, Brooke, you send out the info after this meeting, I save it because this is just more contact for students. And again, we do see people come in all the time, that because we are in an office called the Care Center. So we actually get contacted from people that don't even go to Wake Tech, that are looking for resources. And sometimes we can provide those even if they don't attend. If it's somebody that needs housing, let's go and unite us. Let's see if we can find something just for a person. Again, we don't want everyone in the county to come here, but we definitely want to make sure that if education is the best option, let's get them to that. But if it's one of your resources, let me pass that on. So as long as we can kind of continue this collaboration, that's probably the best thing that we could use.
Awesome. Thank you. Bill, you have a question?
Actually, we're going to have more of a comment. As a veteran who has been there, all these groups are doing a great job with education, but I hate to say this with him sitting here because his head's already big enough, but Moses Gloria is probably the biggest help for veterans other than the programs y'all have, because along with going into education, veterans quite often have baggage. Moses Gloria drove me crazy for 2 years before I agreed to go to the vet center. And it's been one of the biggest helps in my life, because it gave me some of the things that I could do that would make I was able to be a better educated and get educated, because along with education, there's emotional problems that veterans seem to have from time to time. And he is the greatest resource I know of, other than along with these programs. So I just want to thank Moses for what he is doing, and all of y'all with your classes. Actually, I graduated from Wake Tech when there was one building before I went into service. But it was one building. It was the one out on the original building out on 401, like you go into Fuquay. I graduated from architectural drafting out there, and it's been good. But along with the programs, I think you can be a better student if you've got somebody like the Vet Center to and the group meetings and so forth to know the other vets out there, because Moses knows the resources and where to send you as good as anybody. But I think going to a Vet Center and getting information there would be in addition to going to these different programs and so forth, because they're all fantastic. But that would be the second thing they need to do for, like I said, I think they'd be a better student if they can handle some of the emotional problems. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Very good point. Moses, go ahead.
Since he brought me up, I just wanted to remind everybody, I know I'm not the MC of the governor's working group anymore, but if you got events, put it on the calendar, please, because it's the one calendar that federal and state agencies put up there for everybody to share. So if your nonprofit or organization has something veteran or military centric, put it on that one calendar that is shared by almost everybody, please. And then since we're talking about education, and then also transitional trade programs, any veteran using any VA education entitlement programs or any programs from the VA to pay for school or the trade school or any of that stuff, the Vet Center can do counseling for those student veterans. So any veteran using VA education entitlements are eligible for VA mental health counseling at a Vet Center. Thanks.
Thanks, Moses. Any other questions or comments? So as usual, when we're done, I will send an email out to everyone. I'll put the contact information. I put the whole chat in the email. If you have a flyer that you would like to send me today, this afternoon, with additional information, send that over and I'll attach it to the email. But that way everyone can stay connected and we know where to turn when we have additional questions or want to send someone your way. But I want to thank Ashley, Chuck, Robert, and Kat for their time today. This has been a great conversation and I truly appreciate it. And I appreciate the work you all are doing. So thank you so much. And next month, March 12th, we will be talking about veteran social enrichment. So the email will go out hopefully in the next week or so. So be on the lookout. Thanks, everyone.